Hello everybody, I'm Steven from VALHARTV, and today we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 2, Chapter 10, The Passenger. This was a pretty good episode, I thought. It was slow. The pace is still slow that they're using for this season so far. But we start off on Tatooine, and the Mandalorian is still trying to find information on other Mandalorians so he can try to get baby Yoda or the child back to his people. And in the first episode, Mandalorian had to get into a fight in order to get the information. In this episode, he has to basically escort somebody from one place to another. So this is basically like an escort quest. And anybody who's played video games knows what an escort quest is like. You pretty much have to keep the person that you're escorting alive while you're going from one place to another place. So that can be quite a pain in the butt. And this is no exception. We also see a new planet on this, and we also see the X-Wings come back. And in this episode, Baby Yoda's really funny for what he does. So this is basically my spoiler-free part of the review. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you go watch this episode and then come back. But we're going to get into the spoilers because not a lot happened in this episode. Again, it was slow-paced, so we're going to get into the spoilers in 3, 2, 1. All right, so again, we open up on Tatooine. The Mandalorian is coming back from killing the Krayt Dragon, and he goes through a rocky outcropping where he gets ambushed. And these guys who ambush him are trying to get the child. So he fights them off, and then a Jawa picks up the child and threatens to kill him if the Mandalorian doesn't do what he says. So he basically barters for the child for his jetpack. So the Jawa takes his jetpack, runs off, and the Mandalorian does a thing on his arm where the jetpack flies up, and the Jawa just drops off of it, and then he gets his jetpack and Baby Yoda back. So he walks back to town, and he enters the cantina there, and he finds some information from the lady that it does the hangar, where he always parks the ship at. That if he takes somebody from one planet to another, that he'll get information on other Mandalorians. So he agrees to it, and it turns out, like his passenger's a giant frog that he can't really communicate with, so he can't go hyperdrive. He can't use the hyperdrive, sorry, and he has to go sublight speed. So, because if he doesn't, it'll end up killing her eggs. So they've got to take it slow in that part. And he's like, "Oh, I thought you said you could vouch for this person. You just met her like 10 minutes ago." So that was pretty funny, I thought, too. And they take off. And the whole time, this is where Baby Yoda, the child, basically takes a little more of a role in this episode, where he just keeps eating her eggs. And the Mandalorian is like, dude, he's like, don't do that. He's like, that is not food. And Baby Yoda just keeps stealing them the whole time. And he keeps trying to stop him. And at one point, he literally asks the child, "How many of those did you eat?" And he just burps. So it's like, dude, this poor woman's not going to have any eggs left. And the reason why she's got to go to another planet is because her husband's there, and she needs these eggs fertilized, or her line is going to become extinct, basically. So she has to get to this other planet within a set amount of time, I guess, because she can't wait for too long. And that's why they have to take off, but they can't use the hyperdrive. And we end up seeing the X-Wings at this point, where as they're going along, and they ask him for a whole bunch of stuff, and he's trying to stall because he knows that they might be looking for him for last season with the transport ship there for the prisoners, I believe it is. And they end up getting in a chase. So he takes off, and he's trying to lose these two X-Wings, and he ends up crashing on this ice planet. And his ship gets pretty damaged. It's basically just a wreck. And he goes and wants to wait until the morning, and this frog bypasses like everything on this android that's up on the wall that's all busted up, so she can talk to him. And she basically is like, oh, I thought, the Mandalorians don't give up. That must be, just stories for children. So he starts to, repair the ship, because he's like, oh, all right, let's see if we can get this thing, up and running. And that's when, Baby Yoda, as he's doing that, Baby Yoda comes out and tries to get him to follow him. So he does, and they see that the lady left the ship with her eggs. So he has to follow these tracks. So he uses his helmet, and you can see the tracks light up, and he follows them. Well, they end up in this like little cave with a hot spring in it. And she's in there bathing with her eggs, and she's like, oh, it's nice and warm. He's like, I know it's nice and warm, but he's like, I don't know what's out here, so we have to get you back to the ship. So as they're gathering the eggs, the child wanders off, and because he's sniffing around, and he finds like all these little eggs on the ground, and he peels one open. He like literally starts peeling it open and starts eating it, and he's all like, wow, this is pretty good, and all of a sudden all these other eggs start to move, and they start cracking open, and these like ice spiders come out, and he starts running back to the Mandalorian, and Mandalorian's like, what the heck? So they start running back to the ship, and he's like shooting all these ice spiders. I'm not exactly sure what the species is, but yeah, they get back to the ship, and he's still trying, and they get into the ship, and he's trying to get the cockpit door closed, and they're all stuck in there, and the spiders are coming in, and he starts melting them, and this big giant spider comes along and keeps them from leaving. So that's where we end up seeing it's kind of like a hopeless situation. Then all of a sudden all these blasts start coming at the big giant one and kill it, and the Mandalorian goes out and finds the two X-Wing pilots that were chasing him. And they basically save them, and that's where the episode ends. They fly off, and they're limping to the planet where the frog is supposed to go. So basically, yeah, that's the end of the episode. You see the ship is like completely destroyed, just like in the first season where they had to rebuild it. So overall, this episode wasn't bad. The CGI was really good, especially with the frog lady. There were scenes where she was hopping on all fours to get away from the spiders. The acting wasn't bad. And, basically there wasn't really a lot that happened in this episode. So I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. But it was still pretty good. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. If you like what I do, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, as I'll be doing more content each week. Thank you, and take care for now.